Check the description for the following discount codes. Today I'll be reviewing the Meca EVO1 hydraulic brake pedal, and of course it comes with a accelerator pedal as well, load cell based, not hydraulic. Hydraulic accelerator pedal, totally pointless and totally unrealistic, but hydraulic brake pedals, interesting. First of all, I must say thank you to raceathome.co.uk. They are who've loaned me these for this review, along with some other equipment, handbrakes, sequential shifters from Meca, some wheelbases and some other bits as well. You'll see in the footage I'm putting up now, Race at Home are also who provide me with my motion system. They design and make the low rider, which is your traction loss and your surge, the bottom part of the rig you see there here in the UK. The rest of the system is a PT actuator based, four corner setup. So a big thanks to Bob from Race at Home. There will be a link to Race at Home in the description. There's also a 10% discount off of these pedals until the end of the month, which would take the price down from £844 to £760, including shipping here in the UK. Now, let's find out whether you might actually want to buy them first. Hey, these are a well-made set of pedals. They're not the highest quality I've seen, but they are well made. There's no sort of play in any of the axis, sort of, left to right or forwards and backwards in anything. It is all machined to a good tight tolerance. Let me give you a little close up whilst I'm rabbiting on. This is slightly awkward to demonstrate because this is our custom made hydraulic slave cylinder, which I actually think looks really quite cool. I like the design. I like the stainless steel bits and pieces there. You can see there's a couple of bolt holes where it will bolt to your aluminium profile. This is the pedal itself. It uses a Wilwood master cylinder, and these are steel, and obviously they look to be powder coated, so they're not billet aluminium like the sim grade pedals I had here before. They are just steel, 4mm thick steel, and powder coated. We've got nice ball bearings on the axes. It comes pre-filled with hydraulic fluid, and this cap is actually taped on to prevent it coming undone in transit. The hose itself is quite thick and fairly rigid, and everything is all done up, ready to go out of the box. It uses a 600 psi pressure sensor, so it measures the pressure of the hydraulic fluid being compressed here. Well, not being compressed because the fluid doesn't compress, that's the whole point of it, but the pressure that builds up in here is measured by this sensor rather than a load cell, for example. Not that that makes any difference to the driving experience, because a sensor measuring pressure is a sensor measuring pressure. Your foot is not going to know any different, but that's what they've chosen to use here. You could potentially put a load cell, somewhere in this mechanism here to measure the force being applied, but they haven't. They've used a pressure sensor similar to the Acertec Invicta pedals. They also use a pressure sensor. So to plug onto that, you get this little sort of very much automotive style plug, and then an RJ12 on the bottom. That will go into a little USB control box that I'll show you in a minute. The fit and finish, as I say, is good, but not the best. If we have a close-up look, I say not the best, not in a negative way. It just isn't the best because I've seen better. The sim grade pedals had a nicer finish, as do the Acertec pedals. I don't know how well this will show up here, but around the edge of this pedal face here, you can see where it's been sort of beveled. It's not symmetrical. It's almost like the edges have been beveled perhaps by hand using a file or a little grinder, and it tapers off sort of slightly on the wonk. And this is only, I'm being particularly detailed here, but that is the point of these reviews. When you pay big money for things, and I'm comparing them like to other pedals available, you need to know that there are others out there that have a slightly better finish on their beveled edges. But aside from that, there's no other sort of machining or fit and finish issues that I've come across. It was literally all I noticed was just on these pedal faces, because this can be changed out for the longer one you see here on the accelerator pedal. The longer one's actually optional. The one it comes with is this smaller one. The position of the pedal faces can be adjusted up and down. In fact, you've got a reasonable amount of adjustment on the pedals themselves. This is awkward with this hanging down, but I can't disconnect it because fluid will go everywhere. You'll see there's 3 holes here. This bottom bolt can be pulled out and it can be tilted in 3 different places. You can wind this in and out a little bit here. The pedal face can go up and down. And weirdly, they actually recommend that you do these adjustments with the pedals off of your rig rather than doing them in situ, which of course makes it a little awkward. If you bolt it down, you go, no, do you know what? I don't quite like that angle. Take it all off again to adjust it. But I don't really see, apart from maybe accessibility to certain things, I don't really see why they suggest you do that. But you know, there we are. But yeah, that's the brake pedal. I'll tell you how it feels in a minute. Let's just have a quick look at the accelerator pedal. This is a load cell base pedal. As I say, this is the optional plate on there. And with this one, we've got additional adjustment that you don't have on that. You've got some up and down adjustment here in this slot, as well as the 3 at the bottom there. And there's a preload adjuster here as well. And you can actually slide this piece, this blue piece in here, forwards and backwards also. And again, the pedal face can go up and down as well. They can't go left and right because there's holes that these bolts go into are recessed. So you can't just whack them in any other holes, for example. In fact, the head of the screw would probably just go straight through if you tried to do that. But yeah, reasonable amount of adjustment. On the bottom here, we've got quite large slots, which would allow you to put it on your rig and obviously move it backwards and forwards as you see fit. Again, just with this pedal, same as the previous one, no play anywhere, you know, nothing wobbles or not even when it was bolted down. I had a good little wiggle of everything and it was all absolutely fine. The load cell in this, I think, is a 20 kilo load cell. Let me just have a look at the spec here so I don't get it wrong. Yes, a 20 kilo load cell, because obviously your accelerator pedal isn't a heavy pedal. You know, you can push the accelerator pedal with your hand. Although, one of the things I will say is, for an accelerator pedal, I think this actually is quite a heavy accelerator pedal, even with the preload adjusted all the way out. It's going to be personal preference and subjective as to how you like the weight of your accelerator. For me, I found it a little on the heavy side. Aside from that, no issues using this pedal whatsoever, and I'll put a clip up of me using it because you'll be quite interested, I'm sure, to see how this hydraulic slave cylinder moves in operation, because it does look cool bolted to the rig. You know, having that little separate slave bolted alongside it, and as you'll see in this clip now, as I brake, you know, it's squishing the elastomers that are in there, and I'll show you how you can change those in a minute as well, once I let you just have a little look at this in operation. But yeah, both pedals lovely and smooth in operation. They weren't noisy, you know, clattery, so good for keeping, you know, wives and children happy if they're asleep late of a night when you're doing your sim racing. I've not had any leaks from the hydraulic system. It is something that is inevitably going to happen at some point, because hydraulic master cylinders wear out in real cars. This is a Wilwood master cylinder. You'd use it in a real car. They do start to leak at some point, so just bear that in mind. I mean, if you sim raced 8 hours a day, you're going to wear through it much faster than if you sim race 8 hours a week. No different to driving your car in real life. The more driving you do, the more you're going to wear things out, whether it's tyres, brakes, master and slave cylinders, whatever it might be. But it is a perishable item. It's just the way it is. So you will have to change it at some point, and presumably the slave cylinder also will have some sort of lifespan or life expectancy as well. Now, to change the elastomers, this is super simple, and you do it in situ. You just undo this wing nut at the top here and take the top cap, I'm going to say, off, and there is elastomer number 1. And you would then just continue and take the rest off, and there is elastomer number 2. And all you would do is swap them out for whatever combination of elastomers you prefer out of the provided elastomers, and just do your wing nut back up, just lightly nip it. Now, they give you 6 elastomers in total, 2 blue, 2 orange, and the 2 black that are pre-installed. I personally quite like the 2 black ones, no issue with that whatsoever. It felt I'm going to say, I mean, saying it feels realistic is very subjective again, because every car's brake pedal feels differently, whether it's a street car, a race car. You know, you can't really say that. But for me, I liked the two black ones, which is what actually came pre-installed. And I actually really like the feeling of the brake pedal. It's hard to say whether you can feel that it's hydraulic versus, you know, just a normal elastomer stack being mechanically squashed rather than squashed by hydraulic fluid. But it definitely felt different. So I'd say maybe I could tell it was hydraulic, but it's hard to tell, because ultimately what you're feeling is those elastomers being squashed. And the way these are designed, they're designed so that you can't over squash the elastomers. These will bottom out on each other, so you can't deform them too much and then obviously potentially damage them. So that's a nice touch there. So I actually really like the way the pedal feels. It's got enough travel, but not too much, and it's not rock hard like, say, the Acertec Invicta was. They do a long travel kit for that now, which gives you another 20 mil of travel, I believe it is. But that was too hard for me, that pedal. I didn't like it. It's like it's not moving, basically. For me, out of the box, this felt just right, just how I like a brake pedal to feel. So I was really happy with that. I had no problem, you know, braking consistently throughout my testing. It was absolutely fine. So as I say, both pedals, good quality fit and finish, bar these pedal faces that I thought was a little bit rough around the edges. No play, no rattles, no noise whatsoever. I like the feel of the hydraulic brake pedal. That is a nice touch. I do like the appearance of this slave cylinder and the stainless steel parts that just make it look nice. You know, on the rig, I'll put up a little video clip at some point of me just doing a little walk around of this fitted to my rig. So I do like the pedals, no issues with them whatsoever. This is the little sort of USB interface. You've got your 3 sockets there, clutch, brake and accelerator, the Meca logo on there, and again 2 holes for bolting it to aluminium profile, or of course any rig if you want to drill a couple of holes in it. It is kind of an exposed circuit board setup here. Well, not kind of, it absolutely is. I actually quite like it for some reason. I don't know why. It's a bit like in the old days of clear cases for games consoles, where you can see inside what's going on in your Xbox or whatever it might be. It's kind of that exposed look, but I mean, you may or may not like that. Kind of industrial, you know, but I don't mind it. You could say it's just laziness because they've just got a couple of pieces of metal and sandwiched it between them and gone, yep, that'll do, bend that over, cut the holes, bosh, job done, stick our logo on the front. But I quite like it, but that is of course personal preference. It does come with bags of T-nuts and bolts and washers to put everything you want where you want it. It also comes with a Anker branded USB-C cable, and there is, I believe this is optional, this base plate, but it is a hefty base plate. Again, we've got aluminium profile here, so should you have a cockpit that doesn't have the sturdiest pedal tray, maybe the original GT Meca Prime pedal tray or the Prime Light one, where I recommend against fitting individual pedals bolted to it. And I always say, if you can, get an optional base plate that is available for most pedals, bolt that to your Prime tray, and then it gets rid of all the flex. And of course, this is what we have here with a heel plate as well. I mean, this is quite a weighty lump, actually. But yeah, I think that might be optional. You'll need to check on the Race at Home website to be sure, because I can't remember. I got it, Bob obviously gave it to me all as one package, all in different boxes, so not as one package, but all in one go. So I've got everything here. The software is super simple. There's nothing really to show you there. You can just calibrate, you know, the pedals. There's no other real tuning as such to be done with that, so I won't even show it to you because it's not exciting at all. It's just some raw data. But I think that's probably the end of the review. We've covered the adjustments, the fit and finish. My driving experience was good. I found the accelerator to be a tiny bit on the heavy side for my preference. I found the brake pedal in its out-of-the-box configuration to feel absolutely spot on. So yeah, fit and finish is decent, apart from the edges beveled on the face plates. In operation, they're smooth, they're not noisy. Love the brake pedal feel, little heavy on the accelerator. I love the look of this external slave cylinder setup bolted to the rig. The black and the shiny stainless steel and then what looks like to be aluminium pedal faces. It's a nice, clean aesthetic. Again, this is all, personal preference. Again, I like the little USB box in its kind of raw exposed format. Again, personal preference. But to me, decent set of pedals. The price is hefty, but then so are all sim racing pedals of this sort of caliber. I think, in my personal opinion, they're all far too expensive. I think people are making huge profits on these, but that is, of course, business, and we are all happy. Well, not about happy, but we all pay these prices regardless. So, once someone's put some high-end pedals up for a high price, all the other manufacturers can do the same and stay about the same level, and none of us have any choice but to pay those prices. But yes, there is a 10% discount off until the 31st of March. I think Bob has given me the code GOZZA, GOZZA. Cheers for that one, Bob. It will be in the description along with a link, so in case you spell it differently. But yes, as always, thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.